In the early 1970s, the United States made a decision that would quietly reshape the global balance of power. There was no secret meeting, no master plan to create a rival. In fact, America believed it was doing the opposite. The goal was simple: open China up, make it richer, and in the process, make it more like the West. Instead, 5 decades later, China is America's biggest competitor, economically, technologically, and militarily. So how did the most powerful country in history accidentally help create its strongest rival? This isn't a story of one mistake. It's a chain of decisions, each logical at the time, that together changed the world. Let's go back to 1972. The Cold War is at its peak. America's biggest enemy isn't China, it's the Soviet Union. China at this point is poor, isolated, and recovering from Mao's disastrous policies. Its economy is broken, its people are struggling, and it's terrified of Soviet power. When President Richard Nixon visits Beijing, it shocks the world. America and Communist China had been enemies for decades. But this handshake wasn't about friendship, it was strategy. By opening relations with China, the US could weaken the Soviet Union. China would become a counterweight. A poor, divided, rural country didn't seem like a future threat. At the time, this made perfect sense. Fast forward to the late 1970s. China gets a new leader, Deng Xiaoping. Unlike Mao, Deng doesn't care about ideology. He cares about results. His philosophy is simple. It doesn't matter if the cat is black or white as long as it catches mice. China begins opening its economy. Special economic zones are created, foreign companies are invited in, and America sees an opportunity. US businesses want cheap labor. China has hundreds of millions of workers. It looks like a perfect match. Factories move, supply chains shift, profits explode. America believes this will do two things: make goods cheaper for Americans and slowly turn China into a free market democracy. That belief turns out to be very wrong. In 2001, China joins the World Trade Organization. This is the turning point. By joining the WTO, China gains full access to global markets. Tariffs drop, exports surge, foreign investment floods in. For American companies, this is a gold rush. Production costs collapse. Shareholders are happy. Consumers get cheaper products. But there's a hidden cost. Entire American manufacturing towns begin to disappear. Factories close, jobs vanish, skills are lost. China, meanwhile, is learning fast. China doesn't just manufacture products, it studies how the world's best companies operate. Western firms are often required to share technology to access Chinese markets. Joint ventures become classrooms, supply chains become training programs. China absorbs knowledge at scale. At first it copies, then it improves, then it innovates. And unlike the US, China doesn't let markets decide everything. Here's where the paths diverge. In the US, companies rise and fall based on markets. In China, the state picks winners. Massive subsidies flow into strategic industries: steel, solar panels, electric vehicles, semiconductors, artificial intelligence. Losses don't matter in the short term, market share does. While American firms focus on quarterly profits, Chinese firms focus on long-term dominance. This isn't an accident, it's policy. As China builds, America relaxes. Cheap imports keep inflation low, Wall Street booms, services replace manufacturing. Why build when you can buy cheaper? But over time, something dangerous happens. America doesn't just lose factories, it loses industrial capacity. Skills decay, supply chains hollow out, dependence grows. By the time leaders realize the risk, reversing it is incredibly hard. For years, the US believes it still controls the high ground, technology. China can assemble, but not invent. Or so the thinking goes. Then companies like Huawei, BYD, and SMIC appear.